M&A Movie Motivation. From the very first time I saw the movie Wall Street, where Charlie Sheen is going into Gordon Gekko's office. Before he's met Gekko, the secretary basically kind of lets him know, look, Mr. Fox, I'm sure you're a very talented broker, but Mr. Fox only deals with investment bankers. So it's at that moment I wondered, well, if Mr. Gekko, Gordon Gekko, played by Michael Douglas, is supposed to be the ultimate Wall Street player, who are these investment banker guys? I was maybe 12 or 13 when I first saw this movie when it came out all those years ago. And so from that moment, it planted a seed in my mind. What is an investment banker? And so having gravitated towards this field, I'd say that movie was a motivator in the development of my interest in the field and ultimately my pursuit inside the field. But that said, movies have a way of motivating. And so Wall Street is a movie I've seen hundreds of times. Of course, own it on DVD, I own it in digital format, own it in Blu-ray. I think back in the day I also owned it on VHS. But it's a movie that I've seen so many times. There's so many others also, and I'd be kind of curious in the comments, what are some movies that have motivated you? And what is it about those movies that motivated you? So a couple of motivating factors for Wall Street. It's, of course, growing up in what I say is a mainly middle-class neighborhood. Just the idea that there was something beyond a typical trade job or becoming a lawyer or a doctor, but that you could essentially work your way into a position that you could ascend pretty quickly was very appealing, very motivating. And so you see that portrayed by the Bud Fox character, even though he wasn't a banker, he was a broker, but he ends up essentially being on the buy side with Gordon Gekko. And so he does it through essentially dubious means. So basically he's doing kind of an intelligence gathering exercise at best. At worst, you'd call it insider information and trading on that. But either way, the whole idea that you could have superior information and leverage that into a tradable, actionable strategy that could result in huge paydays was ultimately appealing. And that's really what the buy side does, but more morally. And so as a sell side M&A banker, what I like to do is understand those strategies, position the seller clients that I have in such a way that it lines up with those strategies, and ultimately create a market for these clients that will ultimately result in a successful bid that reflects ultimate peak enterprise value and favorable terms and conditions for our clients. But it all started with me back as a preteen looking at the movie Wall Street. And so there are other movies I'll talk about as well in the future, but that's kind of the alpha beginning origin story for me as far as movies that influenced my career. But please put in the comments, what are some that influenced your career, and what are some other pop culture or media that really kind of spoke to you, that resonated with you. Hope to learn soon. Thank you so much.